They say prisons are designed to keep people in, but what if one man studied the system so closely that he found a way to escape without breaking a single lock? A former soldier, a master of patience, and a criminal with an obsession for disappearing managed to slip out of a North Carolina prison by clinging to the underside of a truck. How far would someone go for freedom, and how long could they really stay invisible? On November 13th, 1998, at precisely 3:47 a.m., something extraordinary and unsettling took place above a McDonald's restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. If anyone had been inside the building at that hour, they would have noticed something deeply wrong. A perfectly cut circular hole had appeared in the ceiling, its edges smooth and precise, as though carved by a professional hand. Below it, ceiling tiles were stacked neatly on the floor, not broken or scattered in panic, but arranged carefully, deliberately. From the dark opening above, a rope hung down toward the empty restaurant floor. There was no noise, no alarms, no chaos, just an eerie, deliberate silence. At 5:30 a.m., the morning manager arrived to open the restaurant. She unlocked the front door and stepped inside, expecting the familiar routine of a normal workday. Everything looked exactly as it should. The registers were closed. The tables were spotless. Chairs were stacked neatly. Nothing seemed disturbed. For a moment, it appeared as though nothing unusual had happened at all. Then she noticed the manager's office door. It was open. She always locked that door. Always. A sudden sense of unease settled in as she walked inside the office. The safe door was hanging open, completely empty. There were no broken windows, no forced entry, no triggered alarms, just a hole in the roof and a rope descending from it. It felt less like a robbery and more like something surgical, almost unreal. Police arrived shortly afterward and climbed onto the roof to inspect the entry point. What they found only deepened the mystery. The hole had been cut cleanly through the metal roofing with remarkable precision. The edges showed no signs of tearing or sloppiness. Whoever did this was skilled, confident, and prepared. Even more troubling was what investigators didn't find. There were no fingerprints, no DNA, no witnesses, and no usable security footage. Whoever entered the restaurant knew exactly where the cameras were pointed, knew how to avoid them, and knew precisely how much time they had before morning staff arrived. This wasn't a random burglary. It wasn't impulsive. It was planned down to the minute, and it was only the beginning. Over the next 18 months, the same impossible crime repeated itself again and again. 43 McDonald's restaurants across 5 states were hit using the exact same method. Each location had a precisely cut hole in the roof. Each robbery left no meaningful evidence behind. Each one felt like the work of the same invisible hand. Police departments began comparing notes as the pattern became impossible to ignore. Eventually, the FBI took over the investigation. They gave the unknown suspect a nickname, Roofman. The name fit perfectly. This was a burglar who didn't break windows or force doors. He came from above, like a ghost slipping through the ceiling. But at the time, no one understood the most disturbing part of his method. Roofman wasn't just breaking in and leaving. He was hiding inside the buildings, waiting patiently for hours and sometimes living there. To understand Roofman, investigators would eventually have to understand Jeffrey Manchester. Jeffrey Manchester was born in 1971 in Sacramento, California, and raised in the suburb of Rancho Cordova. His family followed a strict Baptist lifestyle. Sundays meant church without exception. Meals began with prayer. Discipline, routine, and obedience were cornerstones of his upbringing. Jeffrey was a quiet, polite child, an average student who never stood out. He wasn't a troublemaker. He wasn't exceptional either. He rode bikes with friends, played baseball, and lived what appeared to be a normal suburban childhood. As he grew older, small cracks began to appear. He stayed out past curfew. He told small lies. He pushed boundaries just enough to test how far he could go. His parents believed it was a phase, nothing more than a teenager asserting independence. No one saw anything dangerous or extraordinary in him. In 1991, at just 20 years old, Jeffrey got married. Soon after, he became a father to 3 children, twin boys and a daughter. The responsibility hit hard and fast. He needed money, stability, a way to support a growing family. He took a job at McDonald's, where he learned how the restaurants operated from the inside. He learned the routines, the camera placements, where the safes were located, and how managers handled security. At the time, it was just a job. Years later, that knowledge would become a blueprint. The pay was barely enough to survive. Supporting a family of 5 on fast food wages was impossible. In 1992, Jeffrey made a decision that would shape the rest of his life. He joined the United States Army. He was assigned to the elite 82nd Airborne Division, a unit known for discipline, precision, and intensity. The training transformed him. He learned how to rappel down ropes, scale buildings, conduct tactical entries, and operate under pressure. He trained with weapons. He learned survival skills. Perhaps most importantly, he learned patience, how to remain perfectly still for hours, how to observe without being noticed, and how to wait for the exact right moment to act. Jeffrey excelled. He earned the rank of specialist and served honorably for 4 years. But honor didn't pay the bills. Despite his service, Jeffrey earned around $1,800 a month. The debt kept piling up. Car payments, credit cards, medical bills. When his military service ended, he turned to construction and roofing work. He was good at it. He understood roof structures, access points, and cutting techniques better than most. But the pay remained low, around $10 an hour. By his late 20s, he was drowning. In 1999, everything collapsed. His marriage fell apart after a domestic dispute that required police intervention. His wife filed for divorce and sought full custody of the children. Jeffrey lost his family, his stability, and his sense of identity almost overnight. He found himself alone in a small apartment with just $147 in his bank account. Rent was due in 3 days. Child support payments were about to begin. There was no way to pay both. That was when the idea formed. Sitting alone, surrounded by unpaid bills, Jeffrey thought about everything he knew. His military training, his construction experience, his time working inside McDonald's restaurants. He told himself it would be just one robbery, just enough to get back on his feet. Then he would stop. In November 1998, he carried out his first robbery, stealing $4,673 from a McDonald's in Charlotte, North Carolina. It worked perfectly, too perfectly. He walked away without resistance, without evidence, without consequences. Something inside him changed. The disciplined soldier disappeared. The desperate family man vanished. Roofman was born. From December 1998 through March 2000, Jeffrey carried out robbery after robbery across multiple states. His method was flawless. He climbed onto roofs, late at night, cut precise circular holes, lowered himself inside, and hid, often in storage closets or bathrooms. He waited in total darkness for hours without moving. When the morning shift arrived, he emerged wearing a ski mask and carrying a rifle. He never shouted. He never panicked. He spoke calmly, almost gently. He instructed employees to enter the freezer, reassuring them they would be safe and telling them the door opened from the inside. Then he went to the office, opened the safe, often using the combination written on a sticky note, and took the cash. He walked out the front door, removed his mask, and drove away. The entire process took about 11 minutes. By April 1999, the FBI had assembled a 12-agent task force dedicated solely to catching roofmen. They tracked 43 confirmed robberies across 5 states. Behavioral analysts created a detailed psychological profile. The suspect showed clear signs of military training. He was comfortable with heights, patient enough to wait for hours. He avoided violence and unnecessary damage, suggesting an internal moral code. But despite knowing how he operated, they couldn't predict where he would strike next. McDonald's locations were everywhere, thousands of them. In May 2000, Jeffrey made the mistake that ended his run. He decided to rob 2 McDonald's in one day in Gastonia, North Carolina. The first robbery went perfectly, the second did not. An employee triggered a silent alarm. Police responded within minutes. Jeffrey fled on foot, wearing army fatigues and carrying a rifle. At 6:23 a.m., he was cornered in a backyard and arrested. The evidence was overwhelming. Tools matched roof cut patterns. Ballistics linked him to previous robberies. Jeffrey Manchester was sentenced to 45 years in prison with no parole eligibility for 32 years. At Brown Creek Correctional Institution, Jeffrey became a model inmate. Quiet, cooperative, reliable. He earned a job in the prison metal shop, where he gained access to tools and materials. Over time, he earned trust, and over time, he began planning again. For years, he studied delivery trucks and guard routines. He noticed a weakness. Guards expected to see people hanging under trucks, not lying flat and painted black. Slowly, he built a platform designed to attach beneath a truck's undercarriage. On June 15, 2004, he executed the plan. He clung beneath a laundry truck, passed through 2 security checkpoints, undetected, and escaped. Jeffrey Manchester was free. What followed was one of the most bizarre fugitive stories in modern history. Jeffrey survived by hiding inside retail stores, living in Toys R Us locations, and later, an abandoned Circuit City. He built a hidden apartment with electricity and a DVD player. By day, he joined a church under a false name and formed relationships. By night, he lived like a ghost. Eventually, greed caught up to him again. In December 2004, he robbed the Toys R Us he had been living in. Police followed a hidden passage into Circuit City and discovered his secret room. Inside, they found a DVD playing "Catch Me If You Can." The symbolism was perfect. Jeffrey was captured weeks later. Additional charges brought his total sentence to 105 years. Even in maximum security, he continued planning escapes. Psychologists concluded that Jeffrey Manchester would never accept confinement. Escape wasn't just something he did. It was who he was. If stories like this fascinate you, hit subscribe because the next one is just as unbelievable and you won't want to miss it.